Hello everyone, my name is Pixelriffs and welcome back to Skyblock 116. I hope you guys are having a good day. In today's episode, I decided what I was going to do with the dragon heads we got from the last episode. They are now outside of here decorating the villager hotel. Busts, almost, I suppose. Kind of makes the dragon look a little bit like, it's flexing. Anyway, today we've come back from the end. We've come back from raiding the end cities and we're going to work on a little bit more progression here in the Skyblock world, of course. I have been figuring out what I'm going to do next, and what I'm thinking next is we need a solid nether mob farm. And for that, there are a couple of designs we could go with. In the last season of Skyblock, I made myself a flying machine-based nether mob farm, talking about fortress mobs specifically here, and I'm thinking we go with something different this time around. What I actually want to do involves the dragon a little bit more, because I want to make a new farm that takes advantage of the fact that you can move mobs around using lava in the nether now. The lava will actually kind of carry the mobs around in the same way that water streams do in the overworld. A little bit more slowly, but it happens because most nether mobs are fireproof. What that means is getting hold of a lot of lava sources though, because I only have a couple of those right now, which is going to mean fighting the dragon a whole lot more. You know what you need to fight the dragon? Ghast tears. That is right. You need ghast tears so that you can have enough regeneration crystals, enough of the end crystals that can respawn the dragon. And unfortunately, as of right now, I have been avoiding spawning ghasts in the nether because they tend to blow stuff up and hurl me into the void. Today, we are going to work on a ghast tier farm, and it's going to be one that is probably not the most technical and not a design you will have seen many other places, because I don't know if it's going to be the most practical design, certainly not for vanilla survival, because of course you don't have the void world to your advantage there, but I think it's probably going to be a little bit less technical, but hopefully a little bit more fun than some of the other farms you will have seen designed out there, and it's going to involve a little bit less waiting around, I think, than most of the other designs will. So hopefully you guys will enjoy. First though, I want to take this into account. In the other episode, I got really excited about having a Fortune 3 pick because I've been working with the Silk Touch pick for a while. Then it occurred to me, what am I going to fortune? There's not a great deal of stuff that I need to fortune that cannot just be fortuned with a better tool. Like, for example, if I want to get saplings more frequently out of jungle trees and dark oak trees and stuff like that, then surely having a fortune hoe is going to make more sense than having a fortune pickaxe. There are no ores. Nothing that the pickaxe is the specialist tool for is really going to give me anything more. Maybe I could get more glowstone dust back out of glowstone blocks, but then why would I do that in the first place? It makes no sense. I don't know why I was so excited about having a Fortune 3 pick in the last episode. But there you go, we've got one anyway, and if nothing else, it has Efficiency 5 and Unbreaking 3, so that's not terrible. We've got a second set of Elytra here. I'm wearing the first set, and for today's farm, I actually want to get myself a Mending and Unbreaking set of Elytra, basically because I think I'll be using the Elytra a little bit more. So let's go and consult with our... Oh, I thought he was giving a villager over there a hug. I think he's just handing out poppies. Let's see which one of you has the mending book these days. Okay, 18 emeralds is what I need. Fair enough. Gonna do a little bit of trading, and I'll be right back. So I got hold of a couple of mending books. I'm also kind of stockpiling glass right now, and that is for the farm. We will get to that a little bit later. I'm also smelting up as much stone as I can, so we'll be using that for the farm as well. But it occurs to me, I don't actually have an unbreaking trading villager right now. Instead of breeding up a new villager, though, what I thought I would do is set up an enchanting table over here, because we now have the ability, thanks to the fact that we got a bunch of raw diamond from the end cities, we can actually make ourselves an enchanting table for the first time in Skyblock. I got a bunch of obsidian from my piglins. I say a bunch, like 5, and this is the reason I'm not doing the portal ghast farm method, is because trading obsidian from piglins takes a very long time. But in the meantime, I can at least make myself an enchanting table, and hopefully we'll be able to get some unbreaking books from this with the 70 levels that I still have from fighting the dragon. We can always go to the zombie pigman farm if we need more levels as well, but I'm hoping... Of course it's Bane of Arthropods. Okay, well that wasn't going to last very long anyway. Let's see if there's some gear I can disenchant and then re-enchant with some better stuff. Maybe we'll see if we can get this diamond gear up to full protection 4 and everything. It occurs to me this is also the first time I'm going to have to buy lapis from these guys, but I will end up trading some gold back to them, so that balances out the emeralds a little bit. Let's grab a little bit more glass from whichever one of you was trading. I think it's the guy who trades me mending, actually. He is this guy. Yes, there we go. We'll get some more glass off of you. Perfect. Let's head back down to the enchantment table, and I have a couple of spare diamond swords that I could probably enchant. This one's got Unbreaking, which I don't have on that sword right now. So there we go. That's a Sweeping Edge 3 that I can add, and an Unbreaking as well to a... It's already got Looting too. Awesome. Well, we got our Enchanter achievement, and let's see if Efficiency 4 on a book isn't going to be too bad to have either. Multi-shot, every time it prioritizes the crossbow enchants. I don't get it. Let's see how many levels it will take to combine. Whoa, too expensive. Oh, that sucks. Boo. Boo earns, I say to that. All right, well, fair enough. Apparently, it's going to be too expensive to do that. Maybe I can still do that with books. There might be some ways. I don't think I can... Oh, yikes. Okay, that's a 33 level enchant. I think I probably combined this sword from, like, several other swords. So I wonder if I can just get a better sharpness 5 sword on here, and maybe we can just combine that one, add mending to it, instead of sticking with this sword the entire time. If you're wondering why I have so many diamond swords to enchant, though, there we go. We got a sharpness 3 on that one. That's not terrible, but still not great. I got a bunch of these from the toolsmiths and weaponsmiths and stuff. So we actually have a bunch of diamond tools even before we went to the end. It's just that they didn't have great enchantments on, and I just ended up grindstoning the enchantments off them in the end. See, that way around, it's going to cost me 13 levels to get Looting 2, Sharpness 3, along with Sweeping Edge and Unbreaking. That's honestly not terrible. I might see if I can get a Sweeping Edge book off of somebody up here, but still, I think that's going to be a little bit better. At this point, though, I'm getting Protection 3 out of the table, and we have another Sharpness 3 on that one as well. How lovely. And we're back to Bane of Arthropods 4. Okay, this is going to take a minute or two here. Finally, an Unbreaking 3 book. There we go. I did have to get Bane of Arthropods on a sword to do it, but once again, grindstones exist. They are a thing, so not going to be too worried about that. Won't need stuff like Aqua Affinity, because, I mean, where is the water around here? Maybe we'll go and take on an ocean monument at some point. But in the meantime, I got myself a fair bit of those, and do I have a grindstone? I guess it's the grindstone up there in the village. Okay, not to worry. I'll deal with that later. Let's stash the remaining swords in here. For now, I'm pretty happy just keeping my Sharpness 5 Looting 3 sword, and we'll probably add some Sweeping Edge to that another time. In the meantime, though, we have Unbreaking and Mending that I can finally put on my Elytra, and that will make me feel a lot happier about using them. We can top them up using the Zombie Pigman farm basically anytime we want to, or even trade with a couple of villagers, because villager trading gets you a lot of experience. It's actually really good. And in the meantime, the rest of my sugarcane has grown, which means I can finally make some fireworks to fly around using my Elytra. I think that's something that I forgot to take with me when I fought the dragon last time, so let's at least get ourselves some fireworks now. And here we go. We have a stack of fireworks now. Fantastic stuff. I think that will probably last us for the duration of the Ghast farm build, as far as I can tell. We're going to be doing a lot of bridging out there in the first place, because we're going to be building the Ghast farm really low down in the world. We're talking void level, Y0, like we did with some of the other farms in the Nether, and this thing is actually going to be pretty fun. I'm going to turn all of this glass into white stained glass, and the reason for that, aesthetics, entirely aesthetics. I want this thing to look kind of shiny and cool, so we're going to turn a bunch of bone meal into white dye. We'll make ourselves some white stained glass, which should be here on the first page, and let's stash that back in the box. I'll do a little bit more trading just so we have a surplus of glass, because we're going to need 2 glass platforms and 1 solid platform for this one. But then next up, we're going to head over into the Nether, and I'm going to show you how this farm is built. Alright folks, welcome back to the Nether. Step 1, we're going to head out in that direction, but we're going to do so once again from the lowest possible point in the world, which means heading all the way down here to the Zombie Pigman farm, and much the way we've done with the Magma Cube farm that heads off in that direction, we need to split off from our Y1 set of slabs down here and make our way out towards the Soul Sand Valley biome. Once again, much like the Basalt Delta, we have a subtle change in ambience and the particles start to fall. I've never really noticed the particles of a Soul Sand Valley all that much, but that's mostly because the landscape is so distinct, and that blue fog you normally get is also pretty distinct. We're not seeing much of it right here because, of course, we are down at the bottom of the world. The void makes everything black, even if you're in a different biome. But looking at it on the F3 screen, you can see there we are in a Soul Sand Valley. I'm going to go a little bit further than this, just so we're outside of the range of this island here, but we really shouldn't need too much space. The design I'm working with here is actually relatively slim. And I say relatively because, well, it is still a ghast farm, and ghasts are quite large creatures that require a fair amount of space in which to spawn. Or actually, they just need a decent amount of open space in which to spawn, but they could spawn on a single solid block if they wanted to. They just need to make sure that the rest of the space around it isn't obstructed. And this farm kind of takes that into account, but we are going to build a pretty big solid platform out of stone, and I'm actually using some chiseled stone bricks to mark out specific locations in the stone. We're going to build a glass roof over the top of that, and the glass roof is actually going to have holes in it directly above the chiseled stone bricks through which we can fire some arrows. But first of all, we have to build the platform, and I've decided we're going to make this, if the dimensions of this biome allow, about 26 blocks wide by about 20 long. And of course, as we go, I'm also going to light this whole thing up with torches to block skeleton spawns in particular, because skeletons are going to be a bit of a problem here unless we light the area up. Ghasts can spawn in any light level, and skeletons cannot, meaning we can take advantage of that when we end up building this farm. Let me widen this platform here just so I know where the center is and it looks symmetrical, and I guess we'll go, yeah, about 13 blocks out in both directions from here. And I guess because we've got an odd-numbered build here with a central block, it's going to be 26, 27 blocks wide. The maths here doesn't necessarily need to be something you take into account, but I want to space out the holes in the ceiling here quite evenly. But we're going to have a 2-block thick band around the outside of that is going to be solid blocks. So we can just do that, and then here is where we start placing 2 blocks in, and then we start placing the chiseled stone brick there, and then we count 2 blocks, chiseled stone brick, 2 blocks, chiseled stone brick, and just repeat this pattern as we go through here. In fact, yeah, ignore the fact that we got an odd-numbered center here because we don't actually want that. We kind of want these blocks to be 2 blocks apart with maybe a 2-block edge around the outside, and that is so that when we shoot down through holes in the ceiling, we're going to be able to bullseye the ghasts pretty much wherever they spawn in, right? And so ghasts being quite large, you do need a little bit of space in which to hit them because they're about 4 blocks wide. So if they weren't overlapping with this hole, they'd be overlapping with that one. Now, over the top of this, we're going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. And starting here, we're going to place a roof over the top of this farm. And that's going to prevent the ghasts from flying away once they spawn in, because this is basically the full height of a ghast. And if they have a 4-block distance between them and the ceiling, they won't really be able to go anywhere. And so making sure there are 4 blocks in between this platform and the glass ceiling here, we are going to take out those blocks, and now we just need to build out this platform basically as wide as I like. I've not calculated this to any particular efficiency of ghast spawning. We just need to make sure that the entire thing is covered with glass at this height. And the glass is of course not spawnable for ghasts because it is a transparent block, so we shouldn't get any ghasts spawning on top of this. The whole point is to make sure they stay inside the boundary of the farm. And then every time there is a chiseled stone brick below, we're going to skip the glass block above. So we're going to go 2 and then skip 1, 2 blocks and then skip 1, and so on and so forth until we have basically a row of holes inside of this, which we're then going to surround in some more white glass, and the pattern here will continue throughout the rest of the platform. And once we're done with this section, we have one more section to build, which is going to be 23 blocks up from this floor here. So of course this is at Y1, we want to be at Y24, and we want to build basically an identical stained glass floor with all of these holes in it. The idea being that when we're standing on that platform, we can shoot straight down at the ghasts below, and then all I need to do is come on down here with my wings so that I can pick up anything that is left on the platform. And we can even take advantage of the fact that having a looting sword in your offhand in Java means that whatever you shoot with a bow will also be affected by the looting. So it's time to build out the rest of this platform. I'm going to get replay mode up and running, and we'll do the rest of this in the form of a time lapse. And that farm has worked out really well. So as you can see from the little bit at the end of the time lapse, we have a second platform up there with identical holes basically looking straight down. And all you need to do is rush over to the hole that the ghast appears underneath and fire directly downwards, preferably with a looting sword in your hand so that you can get a few extra ghast tears to drop. And now, as you can see from my inventory, I have 21 ghast tears just from the short time I spent firing down on the ghasts. I probably spent maybe like 2 minutes getting those. Those were not really that bad. Of course, we could raise this whole platform up 1 block higher and maybe set up a large minecart collection system underneath. In fact, it'd probably have to be 2 blocks higher because the minecart rails need something to go on. But of course, we could have the collection automated, and I even came up with a way of automating killing the ghasts as well using a fairly simple design like this one. And there must be better versions out there, of course, including the portal farming method, but you can set up observers facing down in these holes so that they can detect a piece of string just underneath it, and that can be attached to a dispenser that has to be 1 block further up. So you can place a redstone dust on the observer, and the observer will power the dispenser 1 block up above it. And what that will do is fire the arrow directly downwards as soon as a ghast spawns in, because the string will receive a block update that the observer will detect, it'll power the piston, and the arrow will fire straight down. Now, if you want to go with that method, remember to place the dispenser 1 block higher up, so it needs to be 5 blocks off the ground and not 4, because otherwise, from what I can tell, the arrow will actually start inside the ghast's hitbox, meaning that it doesn't hit it from the outside, and it never deals any damage. So you would need to remove a block here and then have the dispenser 1 block above this glass for that to really take effect. But in my case, I'm kind of fine just shooting downwards from this upper platform, and as you can see, the farm spawns ghasts so efficiently that I can't take them all out before more have spawned. Now, it does occasionally cause issues for me because I'm using Optifine. You'll see that the ghasts kind of flicker in and out of existence through the glass. I think that is just an Optifine bug, and honestly, it's not that hard just to spot them while you are out of crouch, and then when you're in crouch, if you can't see them, you can always see them through the holes in the glass anyway. So all I need to do is just walk over, fire straight downwards with the bow and arrow, and then you'll see that another... Oh, that one just kind of got caught on the edge there and glitched out a little bit. There we go. You'll see that another ghast spawns pretty much immediately, allowing you to continuously fire downwards, take out the ghasts constantly, and get all of the tears when you fly back down to the platform to collect them. And honestly, while an automated farm might be kind of cool to have just for the sake of having it, I really don't know if it's wholly necessary, because I already have enough ghast tears to respawn the dragon 5 times, which means another 5 lava buckets towards the fortress mob farm that I plan on making. And of course, you can just fire downwards on the ghasts like this until you have about a stack, and that will probably be all of the ghast tears you really need, unless you plan on mass brewing potions of regeneration, which you might want to do at some point in future, but by that point you're probably a bit better set up and you could build a more advanced ghast farm design that doesn't require all of the shooting downwards through the holes. As of right now, the only other modifications I plan on making to this farm, when I've got the materials for it, which will probably require a little bit more off-camera grind, is to put a fence or a wall or something around the bottom of the farm to make sure that ghasts don't end up sliding out of the sides, because occasionally when one is close enough to the side, you'll notice that either my bow shot will take them over the edge of the farm, or sometimes when they spawn too close together, the entity collision stuff starts to take effect, and one of them will start to push the other one off the side, and I can pretty much always guarantee that I'll be able to shoot it, but it's still not the most ideal situation. Once you're ready to collect all of the ghast tears, you just come down here, shoot the last few ghasts in the farm, and you can drop down in here. Of course, we've made sure that the entire thing is lit up well enough that no skeletons are going to spawn, meaning it is nice and simple for you to hop in here. Just make sure to keep your wits about you, because of course with the platform being this wide, especially on the diagonal, when you're in one corner, ghasts can spawn in the other corner, as you saw happen a couple of times in the time-lapse. But once again, we got about 20 ghast tiers from that, which is really good going. I'm actually not sure if the looting in the offhand thing works necessarily anymore. I don't know for certain, because it feels like I killed more than 20 ghasts that way, and it seems like maybe we got a fair amount of gunpowder, but we didn't necessarily double up on our ghast tiers. We'll have to see. But either way, this is going to allow me to produce a whole bunch of end crystals once I can get a little bit more blaze powder from the fortress, of course, and we should be able to respawn the dragon and get started on a fortress mob farm, a looting fortress mob farm, no less, in a future episode. But for now, folks, I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time farming tiers here at the Ghast Farm, and frankly, just playing whack-a-mole with these guys, which is quite a fun minigame in itself. So, folks, that's going to be it from me for this episode of Skyblock 116. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like on it for me, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.